one of our members, Mehdi, is having some big changes in his life.
I had I wouldn't say a lot of signs, but I had discussions. I've seen some stuff, and I started rethinking about, okay, what I want to do with my life.
You will always disappoint someone. You will always make someone sad or angry by your own life decisions. And unfortunately, that's how humans work.
Welcome, guys. Welcome, our listeners, to another episode of the Human Library. It's been a while since we've done one. Some time
I
passed.
think it's 3 weeks or
Yeah.
a month.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a kind of a special episode for us. One of our members, Mehdi, is having some big changes in his life, transitions. He's gonna be moving to Dubai, and we thought we would talk about it on this episode, about changes, leaving things behind, having new things in
Sounds
life.
sad.
It does. I'm good at being melancholic. But yeah, we'll just start and see where it goes. We might talk about other things as well, but the first question I'd like to ask you, Mehdi, is how do you feel?
Tough one. I think I have a mixed feelings, and I've actually experienced this before my other transitions, because I had many transitions in life, like work transitions, moving out transitions, and I know the feeling, and I know where it always leads. So I would say it's a good thing, because I'm feeling that it's going somewhere good, and I have this Amor Fati, love of faith. I know that it's for the best, and it's actually always challenging, because you have this excitement of the new experience that you're gonna have, but it's always stressful, because, well, you might be an imposter in the beginning, because it's gonna be a new job. You're gonna experience another lifestyle. You're leaving a lot of things, as you mentioned, behind, and for me, I would say it's precious things, like really, really valuable in my life. Mostly relationships, connections. I know that it's gonna be always, present, and we're gonna stay connected. Like, as an example, Adriano and Aslan, I think one of the best connections that I had during my stay in Barcelona, and I'm super grateful that I met you and we started this project. But many other things. It's the life cycle. It's it's normal. And let's see where it's gonna go. I think the podcast, one of the main things that made me worry a bit during taking the decision, like, okay, finally we started the podcast. If you're seeing this, it's not live yet, so that's our 7th podcast, I assume, and we're still waiting for to prepare everything for the launch. But we wanted to stay consistent, so that's why we were heavy on doing research and discuss informative topics that we couldn't find in other podcasts that we normally listen to or watch. So I think it touched me a bit, because I think that I'm getting a bit emotional while thinking about it precisely now. I think I was distracted the whole time, like, just, we've been in dinners, going out with my friends, so I can have more time with them before leaving, and also, arrange everything when it comes to my flights, going back to Morocco to see my family a bit before going to the next adventure. So yeah, mixed feelings. Long story short, excitement, stress, a bit of sadness, a bit of happiness, and Amor Fati.
Amor Fati, man. I mean, but every transition or every change in some way, it requires like a leap of faith. You know what I mean? Um, we have discussed this in past episodes. Like life is not white or black; it's just different tonalities of gray. Also, any type of human experience is the same way. Like for you, man, yes, you're leaving people behind. Yes, you're going somewhere different, and it's kind of sad, like that our lives will are moving in different paths. But at the same time, we're gonna still be connected. You're gonna, as you said, you're like going and start a new adventure. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be a new thing. You're gonna learn. You're gonna grow from it. You know, you learn more from struggles than from successes, if that makes sense.
Definitely.
So even if it's a bad experience, it will be it's a good choice. It's something that will make you grow more as the man you're striving to be. And that applies for everyone. Like whatever goes, like the stoic approach that the problem becomes the path. That's the whole idea, right? Like whatever this beautiful thing called life, it will take you, man. Just grab the bull by the horns. Like, dude, go with it. Let's see where it brings. Like, life is good. Life is good.
Yeah. I wanted to just add one thing, because you guys mentioned Amor Fati a couple of times. Could you expand on that a little bit, for the listeners who may not know
Yeah.
how that relates or what that means, basically?
Yeah. Well, I don't know how it started or who was the first person to say Amor Fati. I know Nietzsche used it a lot. It means love of faith, and well, the Stoic approach is just accepting your faith, accepting your destiny. Like you should know that if something bad happens in the future, the obstacle is the way. Like it's gonna help you in some way. There is no bad experience. It's only good experiences. And love of faith is basically just accepting whatever comes next. Don't worry too much about it. You know that something is gonna happen in the future, whether it's again bad or good, but it's for your own good. So you just accept faith and the life changes the way it is. You don't try to control it. You don't overthink it. Obviously, you need to think about it rationally on your next move. But when you do that, you don't need to overthink about, okay, what if I'm gonna regret doing this, or like what if this, or what if that. You remove all the what ifs and you just accept where you're going, and you know for sure that whatever happens, you're gonna need to deal with it, and you have full control over your decisions, your behavior, and the way you're gonna react to it.
That's very clear.
That's so stoic, right?
That's very of course. No, I just thought about in my life that I don't think I don't think anyone naturally is good at this. Like maybe some people can be like naturally better at being stoics than others, but I think all of us have to kind of remind ourselves of this. That's why you repeat it. Amor Fati. Yeah. You have to remind yourself of it, because I think in my life I'm more of I have this thing where I accept things sometimes, and then sometimes I'm doing my best always to try to, it's like a balance between having a certain outcome, like you want an outcome and you try to control for it, think about all the cases, and then you make a decision and you go with it, and you're like, I would be anxious even then, like what happens, I don't want that to happen, I want this to happen. You kind of want a certain outcome in your life, but then relinquishing that, it's kind of a different approach where you kind of have this attitude of like, I did my best to make the most intelligent or most a decision that's the truest to my values, let's say, and then we'll see what happens. So yeah, I think I think a lot of people probably also kind of struggle with that thing where you want something, you want your life to go in a certain way, and it's just kind of this dance with life where things happen unexpectedly, and you're just like, okay, let's make the best of it, kind of. Yeah.
You know, I would like to add something. If you are always able to look at the bright side of every situation, even if it's like the shittiest one, and I know it's not easy, you have won in life. Period. In my personal opinion. If you can see the positive in the most negative, then you're doing something right, right? And then like also like we were discussing this before the podcast, it's like everything changes. Nothing stays the same. Like life is change. Change is natural. Change is part of it. It's like, yeah, we have seasons, and you'll be like, yeah, well, we're expecting always to have winter during this period of time. Yeah, but every winter is different. Like it could be more, it could be colder, warmer, it could be longer, shorter. It's not the same. Not, even in expecting things, nothing is the same. So like even when you try to control things, the ones that you can control, they don't go out as you were planning because that's how it works. And then yeah, the thing about anxiety and trying to control everything in a certain way, you know, like in Stoicism they say only to control whatever is in your means in a certain situation, which is like maybe 5% of what actually is going around. The other 95 is unexpected and outside of your circumstances and whatever. So yeah, like transitions are like a big thing in human life whatsoever. You just have to, I mean, you just have to go with it, go with the flow, try your best, be hard, be better than yesterday. And dude, the adventure is the adventure, life is the adventure.
Yeah, I just remember the saying by Darwin, I guess. I don't remember like the correctly how he said it, but he said like the most powerful species are not the strongest,
The adaptable.
but the ones that can adapt the most to the changes.
Yeah.
And I think that's really accurate because from my experience and by knowing like a lot of people, they most of them they get stuck in changes and they cannot adapt to the changes, whether it was like COVID or like losing a job or like moving out to a new place, not meeting their friends or whatever. It always has been challenging for them. I think, well, not to talk about myself, but I like this process of adapting to new things. So that's why I'm also excited. And one of the things that I was really excited about is I think I was not in a comfort zone because I don't think I put myself in comfort zones, but like a safe zone, I would say. Like I know all the work that I was doing. I know the people that I'm meeting. I have a structure. Like nothing is really like stressing me out about doing something else or like expanding a bit my mind into like new stuff. Well, I had some ideas, but it was not like super challenging. Like, okay, what if I move out? Like I was not planning to move out because I was like, okay, my life is here. I'm doing this project. I'm working on this. Doing photography and branding myself as someone who's locally here. So when that happened, it was like super fast that I had to take the decision and arrange everything when it comes to my life because I'm gonna start a new life there, right? And something I wanted to say about the Stoic approach, what we have in our control is, again, the way we act on our emotions and our behavior. And from a Stoic perspective, we are responsible on how we act during these circumstances. And what you said, Adriano, about the obstacle is the way, I think, talking about this book, The Obstacle is the Way, because there is a book called The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. I think that was my introduction in 2019 to Stoicism. And when I read it, I think that was one of the most impactful books that I read because this is what I needed back then. I think I was also going through transitions and I wanted to find an approach on how to deal with things and changes and life transitions. So yeah, if you get a chance to read this book, I think I would definitely highly recommend this book.
All of his books.
Yeah, all his books.
Yeah.
Ryan is a genius, but like precisely this book, I would say it's a good introduction to Stoicism, and you kind of change also the scope on how you see things and circumstances and what you have under your control as well. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I don't want to make this like episode so emotional, or I'm not self-absorbed to
It's okay.
talk about
We're
my
humans, man.
Yeah,
We can talk
well,
about emotion and be,
It's fine. Yeah.
you know, sad, happy, content. We're still people, man.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I know. It's just that it might be boring for the listeners, so we can talk about more.
You can cry with us tonight.
If you're planning to do so, he's up for it. You can have a Zoom call with him and
Yeah,
cry together.
For sure.
Other than that, and talking about the podcast, because that's really important for me, and I don't think we figured it out yet. But we're thinking about an alternative to make this happen. So an online alternative, either like Zoom calls and we record the whole thing and then we put it on YouTube and the other platforms, or stream on Twitch, or find a good platform to make this happen online. And yeah, that's the plan for now.
Yeah, hopefully the quality, I mean, we're gonna do our best to get the quality to the same level with being remote, and make sure that the experience is good both for audio listeners and for the people who are watching the videos. And we're not planning on giving up, so we're gonna keep going.
Definitely.
And
Definitely.
yeah. Have we talked about everything? Because I was thinking in my head, okay, can divide this episode kind of in things that we're leaving behind, burning away,
Mm-hmm.
and things that are coming, the new experiences, the new things, and dealing with that as well, dealing with new changes in life. And how do you, because you've moved also from Morocco at some point,
Yeah.
right, to come here, so
Yeah.
is that kind of comparable to the current experience of you going from here now to Dubai, or was there more time in a way to process the previous move, and now this one's kind of like a bit of a shock, since you've kind of like, as you said, you were building up this your life here, right? So you were branding yourself as a photographer here. You were you were in a relationship. You were kind of setting your roots, let's say, right here. And then all of a sudden there's this offer that kind of changes everything, and you're like, in a way, your world is changing, right? It's like very it's a very powerful thing, obviously, because it's not easy to deal with, I think, because it's like the whole, I don't want to sound negative, but in a way it's the whole world is crumbling, the old one, and then there's a new one that you're moving into, right? In a way, because if you make that decision, that's kind of what's happening. Obviously, you know, we are still in touch, and thanks to the power of technology, we can, you know, see each other. You know, we don't have to, I mean, I can come to Dubai, or you can come here to visit. I mean, it's like very, you know, it's not as problematic as it would have been ages ago, but still, how are you dealing with that kind of transition to this new thing? And you also mentioned imposter syndrome, which I also want to discuss at some point. That's gonna be interesting as well.
Okay, so if you're down, I can talk about some experiences that I had before with the life transitions.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay, great. So let's just talk about the overall perspective of life transitions from my own experience. I think I noticed some common patterns that always happen before these changes. So it's always like, before you're super stressed and excited, then you start this new journey or like new adventure. Then it becomes like you have a routine, you get settled, and like everything is just feels comfortable, then a lot of changes happen, like some maybe bad events or like whatever we can call them, and then you're like, okay, I just need this to get solved so I can move on, and then something just happens and it's a new adventure and you go through the same loop again.
Okay.
So always before every life transition, I find this common pattern. So I would say my first transition, like serious transition, it was when I was working in a call center. So that's one of my first working experiences. I went there to work for 6 months so I can get myself a laptop and I can finance myself. And then I ended up doing 1 year and I was like, okay, I need more money. So it became 2 years. And a few months before I resigned, I had like, I wouldn't say a lot of signs, but I had discussions. I've seen some stuff. And I started rethinking about, okay, what I want to do with my life, because it looks like it's going for more years if I'm staying there.
Yeah.
And I remember during that phase, I had a conversation with a friend of mine. We talked about this, and she was like super supportive. She was like, dude, you're too brilliant to spend your life in a call center. Like, you need to find something else. And I couldn't do my master's because I couldn't finance the whole thing. So I was like, okay, what can I do? I was studying marketing the whole time, just self-taught, learning from online courses and YouTube videos. And I've seen something also in COVID that kind of made me change my life a bit. Just talking about this small scope of working in the call center. There was a guy who was like, I think 60 something, and he was working in the call center. And you can feel his suffering every day when he was dealing with clients. And then during COVID, that was the same period in which he's going to retire, right? So like we were happy for him that, okay, now he's going to rest a bit. And then after 1 month of his retirement, he just passed away.
Oh.
And it kind of hit me hard. Like, can you work in this environment your whole life so you can secure a kind of retirement, and then your life would just end?
Man. That's
like,
rough.
it made me think a lot about what I want to do in my life. And then I just pushed myself like, dude, you're in your 20s. If you cannot take some risk now, when can you do it? Like, you're just going to stay stuck in the same place. So the way I took the decision, I just basically just like asked for a vacation. It was 1 week. I started thinking about the whole thing. I started reading some resources that would help me take the decision, like the dip, for example. If you're planning to leave your work, read the dip by Seth Godin is also helpful. It makes you like structure your thoughts in terms of, okay, why do you want to, and is it gonna be like actually good based on your current situation? It's just like for you to think about it deeply or in a more structured way. So my idea was, okay, I'm gonna move out to another city, live by myself, find my higher purpose, let's call it that way, work on small projects if I can, and I'm gonna apply for a master's there and see if I can like keep it going with like working and doing everything. So I resigned. I moved out to Marrakesh. It's another city. And yeah, I had a girlfriend there. I was in a relationship, and it started really good because, again, the excitement and whatever. I applied for the master's. I didn't get it because during COVID you cannot just go and pass the test. They take it based on your latest mark, and that was from my BA. And I applied for something related to I think it was applied linguistics. They had also some communication classes or something. And I was studying English in my bachelor, so it's not like super related field. So they didn't really consider my application. So that was like, fuck. Okay, well, now I have to work even more. So I started working with some friends. We were like thinking about starting a small agency. I found a client. I worked with him. I was learning more, and I got this back to start the podcast. I didn't start it back then.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's an old project. That's why I'm super like happy that we managed to make it happen. And then, dude, like everything looked again super good. Like, okay, I'm in my second city because I was raised in America, so now I'm living there again. I already have a lot of friends. Life is going well. But then at some point, like, life was just being kind of harsh. Like, I'm not victimizing myself, but like, life was a bit difficult. So I kind of like, I burned myself. I had a motorcycle accident. I was running out of money. We stopped the project that we were working on, me and my friends. And then at some point I was just staying home and thinking, okay, what's gonna be my next move? Like, I have rent to pay, I have this, I have that, and I'm kind of like a bit struggling with life. And then I was like, okay, I have some savings and I need a new experience. Maybe I should consider doing like a program in another country.
Yep.
Like an internship or like a project, some work, some volunteering. I don't mind. I just like needed a new experience again.
Right.
So I started looking for opportunities. I found the opportunity that I found here in Barcelona. I applied among 300 applicants. I was the one getting accepted. And the process took like 2 months or 3 months. Then I was accepted. I had to leave a lot of things behind me again there and go back to my hometown, which is Fes, so I can apply for the visa to come here. I didn't have enough money to secure the finances that they asked for before coming here, so they can, like, the government make sure that I'm not gonna be struggling financially. So you need to put a lot of money, and that was the struggle again of, you know, like putting my ego aside and asking people for money. So I need to borrow money. I couldn't take a loan back then, and I came here with like 6K debt, I would say. I applied for the visa. I secured the finances that I could back then. My visa was rejected, so I was like, oh fuck, I cannot lose this opportunity because, you know, like I waited during the process for like 2 months without doing anything else other than like the tasks and the interviews. Then I applied for the visa. It didn't work out, so I was like, okay, fuck, what now? And then I had to find more money, and I applied again. Well, I submitted an appeal, and then it worked. And the same day that my visa was rejected, I started my master's online. So that was already like stressful because, okay, I just started, but am I going or not? And they do not accept online. Like, the online format is only if you're in the visa process. So I was like, okay, I cannot afford losing this now because I already moved my life again back to Fast just for the visa process, and that's temporary. So yeah, dude, it happened. I came to Barcelona. I struggled a bit during, like, in the beginning of like paying people back, giving them back their money, doing my master's, working at the same time. And yeah, it was another life transition, I would say. The different thing about this life transition is I feel a bit more comfortable because I'm debt free. I don't need like to ask again for money from people. I managed to work and, you know, pay everything back. So it feels good. And the good thing also about it is I'm doing something that is related to my expertise, what I studied by myself, what I did my master's in, and what I feel comfortable doing and what I actually want to do, plus the side projects that I want to work on as a photographer or like as a part-time podcasters with you guys. So the good thing is the direction. My direction was a bit like super expanded. Like, okay, is this the direction that I want to take? Should I focus on one project? At some point, I even used to feel that it's like it's not a blessing to be good at many things because you don't master one thing. You're just good at few things and you don't know how to combine them when it comes to video making, photography, or like podcasting, marketing. But at the end, like it's obviously could be combined together in some ways. So yeah, and the new conditions are going to be good as well, and I can feel the difference from like the first the very first salary that I got
Mhm.
from working, and then like the development. It's not like I wanna get a salary my whole life, but
Yeah.
it's needed for me
Of
now. It's
course.
what I need, and until I feel like a real expert in my field to just start my own project, I think I'm really
Mhm.
good with the conditions that I'm gonna be in now. And again, it's a new place, it's a new country, it's a new lifestyle, so it feels also challenging. And leaving stuff behind here is a bit difficult because it's still a bit fresh. Like when I talk about my transition from Fes to Marrakesh, or like from Marrakesh to Barcelona, it feels like it's been a long time, so I don't feel
Mhm.
like what I was leaving behind back then. But for some reason, for this one, it's still fresh, but I feel that I'm leaving more precious things, but it's also to get a better experience than the one that I was getting before. So uh, I came to terms that in life you always have to do trade-offs. You don't
Mhm.
get everything you want. You always sacrifice something for something else. I'm sacrificing, like just chilling in the beach because it's, I'm
Yeah,
gonna miss
yeah.
the beach
Yeah.
here, but I'm trading off because I want to do the podcast, for example.
Yeah.
So whatever action you take in life, you're trading it off with something else, and it's life again.
Yeah, I think a lot of people naturally kind of fail to see that a little bit, that aspect of life where I think a lot of people, I don't know if it was always like this, but especially nowadays, are quite comfortable with being comfortable and being, yeah, and just being kind of stagnant, and and it becomes, well, everything that surrounds us and the way life is designed nowadays, it's very comfort focused in a way,
Mm.
and unconsciously it just makes you less, um, what's the word, adapted to like stress in any way, or like, saying big changes, right? What, like, as you were saying, why would I go somewhere? I mean, I'm comfortable here, but you thought about it and you made the decision that by going there you're gonna experience growth, right? So
Mhm.
it's like you're moving upward. So, and I think that's something that is inevitably painful one way or another, because even when you're like learning new things, or when you're um moving to a different country, it's always like there's something that you're leaving behind. And I think the key is kind of the mindset that we have. It's all about the way you frame it and the way you see it, because sometimes changes like that can be natural, and you can be like, oh, I have no problems, like leaving, or I don't have no problems leaving my old life behind,
Mm.
where the deal is so good that you're like, oh, this is definitely going to be better.
Mm.
It's like, but then when you have so many things, right, that you have to trade off in a way, it becomes a much tougher decision, and it's kind of a test of your character to to make to make that decision, and it requires kind of more of a wisdom that, like, in the long run this is going to be good for you, right? But
Mm.
you're giving up the short-term comfort, and you're kind of like, I mean, if you're an empathetic person, you're also kind of going to be like, oh, I'm going to, hurt people, or I'm going to disappoint certain people or something. I mean, that's what I would think about.
Mm.
I mean, that would be the toughest thing for me, probably. I think I'm quite an empathetic person, where I'm like, maybe too empathetic for my own good. So I think for me that would be the toughest thing. It's like, breaking down the news to your girlfriend or something. I think that's like, that would be the toughest thing for me. But yeah, it just, yeah.
It was the toughest thing for me as well. Yeah, dude. What can I tell you? It's I would say it's painful from both sides, because if something happens in a relationship and you're okay, I have okay, I was treated badly, or like this happened or that happened, it kind of justifies itself for you
Yeah.
to move on.
Mm-hmm.
But when everything is just so good,
Yeah.
but the circumstances are not helping, then you're like, fuck, you
Yeah.
know? But dude, like, overall, without diving deep into that, I would say, again, every bad experience is a good experience for your character's growth. I think it's really helpful to go through these experiences so you can know how to deal with them afterwards.
Exactly.
And I think I might sound a bit sadistic, but I like painful events because I like the outcome of them afterwards. I've been through many struggles and painful events in my life that helped me build my character and not getting distracted by other factors when I'm thinking about my higher purpose, you know? So I think we had this conversation before.
Yeah.
And we talked about like how curious I am to just experience new stuff. And I don't mind getting into these events because, again, I don't think about them as a bad thing. Like, I want to experience everything that I can to have the tools to deal with everything that I could again. And just learn. I want to learn from every experience that I'm having.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want to compliment on everything you guys been saying. Dude, I totally agree with everything you said. It is a little bit masochistic though, but it is true.
Oh yeah, I mixed them. Yeah, it's
same potato. Don't worry about that. But man, like, you know, like something funny, like in physics, for example, they always say energy is not created or destroyed; it's only transformed. So that applies also in life when you have to sacrifice some things to do others, because this is the energy that you have. You're gonna have all the energy. You have this amount of energy and you have to focus it into whatever you can, and you cannot focus it in all of them. And also, unfortunately, I am very empathetic as well, man, and I always think about other people instead of like putting myself in the beginning.
That makes the three of us.
Dude, yeah, but that is true. You will always disappoint someone. You will always make someone sad or angry by your own life decisions. And unfortunately, that's how humans work. If it's not going to be your mother, it's going to be your sister, it's going to be your girlfriend, it's going to be your father, it's going to be someone. Someone. Man, and there's nothing we can do about that. You just have to, like, be tough, man, and follow through. Yeah, as I say, it might be something amazing, it might be the worst fucking thing you have ever lived, but you will learn from it. You will learn from it, and you will grow, and it will get you closer and closer to whatever you're striving, you're looking for. Even though you don't know what the fuck it is, you just know it's there. And you have to keep moving forward, right? And whatever comes, the obstacle is the way.
Yeah, I just remembered our conversation in the beach. I don't know where was. I think it was June. When is that event in which we have like fireworks and
it was actually a year ago in San Jordi.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Today, a year ago.
Today?
Today is San Jordi here in Spain, and it was San Jordi a year ago, man.
Okay. This says nothing about life, by the way. It's just a coincidence.
Is this coincidence, or are we talking about energy, man?
Yeah, could be. And I remembered back then, well, on a personal level, I know that there are few people that I can seek advice from, and you're one of them. And I remember having this conversation with you, and you told me something that really changed the lens on how I saw the circumstances that I was in back then. And it was also about other people. Well, a bit of context, it was about my family, and you told me something that's really, I'm still remembering every now and then whenever I'm put in this situation. And you told me, like, look, if you're both drowning, get yourself out of the water first, help yourself so you can help the other one.
Yeah.
You cannot help them while you're both drowning in water.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it sounds like logical and simple and super rational. But sometimes you're just absorbed in the same lens in which you see the circumstance. Like, yeah, I want to do that for them. Like, I want to be helpful. I want to do that. And you're not helping yourself because you're just overthinking what you cannot control now. Yeah. What you can control is like just, again, helping yourself. Do your best to get yourself out of the water so you can serve and help others afterwards.
Dude, it's like in the airplane, when you're like flying, Like when they say like the gas mask, what's the first thing they tell you when you're in the airplane? When the gas mask come down, put your gas mask first, and then put it to your kid, put it to the one besides you. Because how is it going to be like helpful if you put it there to the little kid, then you die, and and the motherfucker is still breathing, but you're dead. You know what I mean? Like, of course, this is very like far-fetched or whatever, but think about that in that regard. You know what I mean? And it is the same. Like, if you're not good, how can you be good with someone else?
Thinking in the worst case scenario, kind of. I just thought about that because the worst case scenario really gets to the bone of things, right? And in that case, it's like the story of the guy who died, who was working in the call centers. It's like worst case scenario, right? And really drives the point.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add that.
Dude, good point. And also that story, Jesus.
Yeah.
That hit me.
Yeah.
Honestly. Because another thing is that sometimes you just think that you're going to live eternally, or everything is going to be forever, or like you have another day. You know, it's like, fuck it, I'll do it tomorrow. Dude, there is no tomorrow. I know we talk about this a lot, and we'll read a lot about Stoicism because they literally memento mori.
Yeah.
Remember, you'll die. But like, put into practice, honestly, there is no tomorrow. You only have today. Yesterday, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, we get super distracted with life that we completely forget about this notion. Yeah. Like, dude,
you are not
do you know how
eternal.
grateful we are? Like, today, 150,000 people died. We're not one of them.
Yeah.
Dude, like, it's fucking huge if you think about it as a like probability case.
Yeah.
It's fucking huge.
No, but you will die eventually. One day.
Fucking
yeah. Dude, you will fucking
die.
die.
That's an iconic video by Gary Vee.
Yeah.
I think a guy asked him like, I'm 20, can you give me an advice? And he was like, you will die.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, it's a really good advice. Like, think that you will die. Like, do whatever you can now. Suck on every good moment with the people you love, and do something for yourself afterwards before you die. Like, make sure you do everything that it's possible for you to do. Have you
heard the term like burn the ships?
No.
Burn the ships is like, for example, when Cristobal Colon went into the Americas, and he was like a conquistador, and he wanted to conquer like what later became like New Spain, which is basically all Latin America. He suffered a defeat by the Aztecs, and he saw his crew that were like 200 soldiers, that they were scared. They wanted to go back into the ships and go back into Spain. So he decided to burn the ships. So he made a statement. There's no way, there's no going back. We only have forward now.
Bold.
Dude, it's like, or we kill or we get killed. There's no escaping. So dude, that's also like a concept that you can apply in life, that you can apply in your business, that you can apply however you want it. It's like, burn the ships. It's like, this is my way. I won't have plan B. I won't have plan C. Like, it will be the best thing or it could be the worst thing. Whatever happens, I'm going to learn from it. But this is the way. You know what I mean? And dude, in transitions, the good part about transitions, as you said before, like, you know, you can have these transitions that is like the logical choice is to leave because the opportunity is better, the place is better, whatever. That is an easy one. But when it's not that easy, as you said, man, it's like, Jesus Christ. Or you literally like throw a coin into the air and choose like while it's spinning. Or you be like, okay, I have A or B. Fuck it, I'll go for B. But you go for B. Don't be thinking about like, oh, I had the A over here on my left hand. There's no A. There's only B.
Yeah.
You know? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. That was really good and aligned with what we were saying. It just going back a bit to what you said about the worst case scenario. And I think maybe we discussed this before, but that's something that systematically comes to my mind whenever I'm making a decision.
Really?
It's just thinking like, what is the worst case scenario? I just like literally just ask myself, what's the worst that could happen? And then I put them all together, not like taking notes or something, but I'm just thinking about them. Okay, my life is going to be switched that way. I'm going to have this amount of money. I'm going to be with these people like this and that. And then if like, okay, it's not as bad as I was overthinking it, you know? And then you just make the decision based on the data you have. I think something that I really want to discuss about this, because talking about this guy who passed away,
Mhm.
I'm just thinking, and it's serious when I change the posture a bit. I'm thinking about the survivorship bias, and the fact that there are many people like these who do a lot of effort, but then they just go super unnoticed in our scope just because
Yeah.
we always follow these important, interesting people, like the 12 years old kids who have millions now from
Yeah.
dropshipping or whatever, and we only see people who make it, but we don't see people who just like they did effort, they worked hard, but they didn't manage to
Yeah.
have like a good outcome. And I was thinking also, like, because this happened in COVID, and I've seen also some situations in COVID in which like people who saved a lot of money to start, like, I've seen a guy who was doing his best, working super hard to save
Mhm.
some money to start a restaurant, and then COVID happened literally 1 month before he started.
Yeah.
And then, like, okay, he rented the place, he have all the equipments, and now he cannot work, but he still needs to pay like what he got,
Yeah.
That's like, what the
Yeah.
fuck. And sometimes some people make it just because it's not about they did anything different from these people,
Mhm.
but some people just cannot accept that it's fucking luck.
It's luck.
Yeah.
Some people just cannot accept it.
Dude, and something that it pisses me off a lot, man.
Yeah, like it's my hard work. Like, I want to take full credits of what I did.
I, with all due respect to everyone in social media who is like, I'm gonna tell you the secret to be rich. Like, fuck you. No, man. That doesn't work for everyone. Like, it worked for you, perfectly cool. Like, be open about it, be straight. You know what I mean? Look, this success story that you see, you have millions behind that have tried similar or the same and have failed.
Yeah.
And you have to be open about that. You have to embrace that you might fail. Like, I work in finance in my job, and there's a saying that if you want to invest, think about losing that money. Like, you're going to invest money, think about that you don't have it anymore. It doesn't exist. You have lost it already. Whatever is trading, investment, or whatever you want to call it, that money is no longer yours. It doesn't exist. You have lost it. It's like if you have bought air. You know what I mean? But that's a good way of thinking it. Because, dude, it's investing. Of course, you have to have a plan. Of course, you have to do your research. Of course, you have to be prepared. But sometimes it doesn't matter how prepared you are in life. If luck is not on your side, there's nothing you can do about it.
And that's literally thinking about the worst case scenario. Like, okay, the worst case scenario is you losing all the money. But the good thing about it is, like, you've been in the process and you're learning. And that's super similar to my first time starting, like, not starting, but like trying to get on a skateboard. And I was with Nada. Shout out to Nada if you're watching the podcast. And I was with Naza. Do you remember that?
Of course, dude. I love that man.
And he told me he saw that I was like concerned and trying to find the right posture and whatever. And he was like, "You're gonna fall. Like, just accept it for now. Like, don't be super concerned. Like, be a bit excited that you're gonna try this as a first experience, but know the outcome. Like, no one's gonna get on a board without any past experience, and they're not gonna fall. Like, just know it from now. When it happens, like, don't think as like it was a bad thing. It's just part of the process."
Dude, failing is part of life. Like, I don't get right now with the kids that there's like, yeah, we don't have winners or losers anymore. We're gonna give them all a participation medal in a fucking football tournament. Dude,
there is a huge discussion about this topic specifically.
Dude, this is BS. Because you're teaching these kids that they're just gonna be successful. You're not teaching them the most important thing about life, that you will fail, that there's loss, that it will hurt, that you will fucking cry. You will be angry, you will yell at the fucking sky, you will call all of the gods. Like, that is life. And this is something that happens, and you have to be like, understand that, dude, breathe. We did the meditation type of thing and the breathing sessions. Like, honestly, like, breathe. And dude, that doesn't mean that because life is hard and then like you're gonna fail that you don't have to try. No, like, go out there, tiger, hunt that deer.
we are living in the most comfortable era
Oh man,
that we can like ever experience,
that's
literally.
some BS.
Yet we're getting super soft about these things. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I have a kid. As long as he breathes, then he takes full credits of like just existing and take the medals, the certificates. Like, you're doing amazing, and just like
No.
not pushing them to have any experience. Like,
Dude,
how is
yeah.
that gonna help them in their lives?
No, it's not gonna help them at all, man, because they're giving you this fake idea of what actually is gonna happen in your life. It is not true. It is not true. Like, you know what a lovely Rocky Balboa quote that I actually like a lot is like, it is not as like I might not say it exactly as it is, but it's something between the lines. Like, it is not about how hard you can punch. It's about how hard you can get punched and still moving forward and still stand up. Dude, that is it. You know, I have something tattooed on my arm that is in Italian. It says,
Yeah, flex that bicep.
it says, colui che cade si alza è più forte di colui che non è mai caduto. That means he who falls and rises is stronger than him who has never fallen. Because failing makes you stronger.
Yeah.
Look, like trying makes you stronger. Look, dude, transitions makes you stronger. Stay in the same place. That's why you have fucking legs. Move. Like, experience life. You know what I mean? Even if it's scary, even if it hurts, do it. Like, I rather regret it. I rather regret doing something than regret not doing it. Because at least I know what I experienced, and nobody's telling me that side of the story. I lived it and I saw it with my own eyes.
Yeah, and you're probably just removing one of the fears that you have while doing
Yes.
something. Like, we have like a huge checklist of a lot of things that we fear, and we don't want to approach them, not to be uncomfortable. But once you just push yourself to do something, you're like, fuck, it was not that difficult. Like, okay, check, like, let's do something else that it's, you know, like, just gonna remove another fear, and I wouldn't live in this fear my whole life. Like, if you feel like doing something, just go and do it, because otherwise you're just gonna fear not doing it. Whenever you see it, you're like, I never managed to do this, and it's just gonna keep happening until you take action.
Yeah, and dude, the way of thinking, like the worst case scenario, I love that way of thinking, and I actually use it in my own life all the time as well. Like, before, when we were walking here, he was thinking like, hey man, I want to get a tattoo, but I'm hesitant. And literally was like, hey dude, what's the fucking worst that can happen? You will laser that shit off. That's the worst that can happen. Like, you'll be like, nah, I don't like it anymore. You know, like, but that's like in everything you do. Of course, there's consequences in life. Like, dude, like I said before, energy is not created or destroyed, it's only transformed. So the input energy that you give is the input energy that you will receive. Dude, there's something called karma, and it's true. And whatever you do, like, intention is important, but sometimes you can hurt someone with good intentions, which is like, you know, like, there will be always someone disappointed about your decisions, but like, you have to accept it.
Yeah. I was also thinking about, thinking about the worst case scenarios. It's a very tricky metaphor.
The worst case scenario is you will die.
Yeah.
That's the worst case scenario of everything.
Yeah.
You will die. But that's also the universal truth.
Exactly. Yeah.
That we normally...
Do you want to say something?
Yeah, say it.
Yeah, like, it's the only fact that we all know, but we keep ignoring the whole time. And sometimes we're like, even, this guy was super young, just passed away. Like, okay, fuck shit. Like, no surprise. We know that anything can happen like this, but we just keep living in denial, like, as if it's not gonna happen. We're not really coming to terms that, okay, it could happen at any time, because we're just not taking life that seriously.
No, we think that we have this life planned up, you know, and that we will die in our beds at 88 years old, have lived an amazing life with family. Dude, that's not a given. I lost a friend when he was 27, and he was fucking young, and I'm pretty sure he was not expecting that, man. And that's part of life.
Yeah, I think it's also the kind of the more Buddhist or Eastern way of thinking of, like, things are not permanent in your life. but we tend to think that, you know, it's gonna last forever and we have it all under control. And I think that plays a big role in making these kind of decisions. If you choose, let's say, to stay in the comfort zone and stay with, you know, where you are currently in the moment and not take that leap of faith, because we create this illusion in our mind that, you know, it's either this or that, but in a way that illusion, it's an illusion. It's kind of because you never know what can happen to you, and that kind of builds into the worst case scenario, because I mean, who knows what the things that you are clinging on to right now could disappear tomorrow. You know, and that's the kind of the realization is that, you know, go and do it.
And
go
also,
and do it.
Yeah. And also another thing that you just brought me, thank you, man. You're not the same person as yesterday. You change. Don't forget that. Something like that you wanted 2 years ago is not the same value that you have or you want right now. So there's an expiration date for everything. So if you don't do it now, because now is the only fucking time you have to start with, you don't know if tomorrow you'll want to be able to do it, or you'll be able to do it, you want to do it, however you want to see it. And that's going to take a toll on your head, whether you like to see it or not.
Dude, give me a brofist. I like what you just said. Your phrasing was so good. Yeah, dude, that's super true. That's super true. A lot of things that I'm thinking about now in terms of life, like lost its value in terms of how big I used to see it and how small I see it now. Like, again, there is no permanent thing. There is nothing that stays consistent the way it is. Like, everything is just changing. And again, like, your only approach is to be responsible on how to act on in terms of like adapting and just accepting that life is changing.
I never hurt on anyone. Like, you cannot be a dick.
Yeah, a reminder. Just a reminder. No, this also got me thinking about, you know, some things, and because I'm also thinking a lot of things about my life as we're talking about this, as I'm sure you are. It's very interesting because sometimes, you know, in your life things happen in a way, and I've noticed this recently where, you know, things happen in a way and you automatically think, okay, this is, you know, what they refer to like synchronicity, or like you're like, okay, this is kind of builds into my life, or it's like a natural thing. Okay, it feels like luck, but like it's kind of like it's a strange thing, but I feel like, okay, this random event is okay, it works out very nicely here.
That's a phrase you've been using a lot recently. When you say like the universe just aligned with our plan, or like something like this. You kept using this phrase a lot.
Yeah, it's a very weird thing, but like I think that kind of thing has been happening more in my life, and I've been also now thinking about that. And I think sometimes and I'm sure maybe the people who are listening and watching this can also confirm this, that, you know, sometimes, you know, in your life things go the right way, whatever that way for you is. If, let's say, you have a business or you have like a couple of projects going on or whatever, and you're like, oh, this event, this random person I met now, you know, helped me get this project or that. Okay, it's amazing, you know. And I think the tricky part about that thing also is that sometimes we fail to see how certain events can also have that effect on us, but we automatically assume, no, this is not going the right way, because we are like so framed like in one direction. Do you want to change my mics?
No, you won't.
Okay.
Dude, sorry to interrupt, but
no, that's fine.
I have to say, in my own life experience, it has been like when I have not been able to do what I wanted. Later on, I see like, fuck, like it was aligned for me to not get this, so I could actually like move forward and try something else that I didn't want to try, but I was kind of forced to because I failed. And now I'm thinking like, thank God.
Yeah.
You know, like, thank fucking God, man. Dude, yeah.
That's exactly how we say it.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, yeah. It is crazy.
Yeah, it's a very confusing thing, because I think the way we naturally tend to look at the world also, maybe this is biological, where we're looking at things like in a very narrow and straight way, because there's only so many things we can process at a time.
Yeah.
Like, let's say I'm living my life normally and I'm working on a few things. They're only like these things that I can focus on: my personal life, my family, my friends, my work, or like a side project or whatever. Okay, I got it. And then there are so many things you're missing out of the picture. And once you form that narrow view of like, okay, I'm doing this, and okay, this event happened, okay, it works out, or it doesn't work out, fuck, I'm now bummed out about it. But like, you don't see the bigger picture because you can't. Actually,
not
you
at
can't.
the moment.
You can't.
You will see it afterwards.
Yeah. Only in retrospect you will be able to see it
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's another reason why you should be more comfortable with accepting things when they don't go your way. So yeah, that was my 2 cents.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Super fucking true.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, that's what keeps me always like saying the same phrases, like Amor Fati. I'm just like, love of faith, whatever happens, it's gonna happen, and I'm gonna accept it the way it is.
Or it is what it is.
It is what it is. And I don't know, it is what it is. I think it sounds a bit negative. Like the way it's normally used, it's a bit negative. Like, okay, what can I do? It is what it is. But like
that, yeah.
Well,
yeah. But it depends how you say it, man.
Well, I don't personally use it. Let's put it that way. But like, I use Amor Fati, and I use like, the thing that I keep reminding myself is, I will manage. Like, whatever happens, I'm gonna manage. Like, I have this faith in myself.
I'll figure
from
it out.
past experiences that okay, whatever happens, I know I'm gonna get through it, and I'm gonna manage to overcome whatever happens.
Yeah, I'll figure it out, man.
Yeah.
I actually say to myself, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know how to do this. Fuck. Okay, future Adriano will know. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Focus on this right now.
And life just flows sometimes, like, unexpectedly.
Dude, another thing is that we also give so much value and importance to banal, like, so unimportant things, and we give them so much importance, and it makes you, like, it changes even your mood, and then you realize that, dude, this is stupid. This is not important at all. I still have my breath. I still have my hands. I still can do shit.
Yeah, that's, dude. I'm just, because I was thinking about this the whole time. It's like, also this thinking about being grateful is until you're about to miss out something, or you're kind of losing something, then you start being grateful about like how this was actually like super good. Because sometimes we just get too self-absorbed with like life or whatever is happening that we completely ignore many things. Like, I remember that before I had like a vacation during Christmas, I think I was planning like a whole 10 days. Like, I'm gonna do this amount of work every day. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And then I received some bad news that completely impacted my mood. And then I was sick for like 7 days, and I was just laying in bed the whole time thinking like, now I just want to recover. Like, I'm only thinking about my health now.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about unleashing my full potential, or like my entrepreneurial spirit, or like all these things. And that's what keeps me also thinking about like, okay, I really don't want to get into this because we're not professional to talk about like depression or stuff like this. But I think you put yourself in this state when you're really have a lot of things fulfilled. Because, for example, in my worst moments, when I was just striving to have enough money to secure my own food, I was not thinking about many things. Like, I was mainly just concerned about this thing, because that's the main priority. That's like the top tier that you're thinking about. Is just like survival mode. I just want to secure these things. But once you cover that, you start trying to cover everything else in your life, and you need to figure out everything about your life.
And now.
Now. Because I got this secured. But once you move back to this other stage, like you go through another events in your life in which like you need like money to survive or something like this, you go back to the same mode. Once it's done, again, you try to secure the other things. And it just keeps happening. Like, sometimes you just need to wake up, meditate, again, be grateful that you didn't pass away like the other people that passed away. And, well, you still have many things to be thankful about in life. And whatever is happening, you're still having good moments in life that you're not even realizing or you're just ignoring the whole time.
Dude, you know, for example, in Buddhism, they say something like, if you seek enlightenment, you will never be enlightened. You know? And I struggle with this in my day life because I'm a hard worker and I break my ass in everything I do. And I'm always the mentality that if you want something, you better work, baby. You know what I mean? But then it also happens that the more I want something, the less I have it. It's so weird because I'm working for it, like I'm breaking my back, but the further I see it from my objectives. So it's a nice balance of like desiring something, wanting something, and then working for it.
Okay, I have a quick question because I fall into like a small contradiction regarding this.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think, okay, well, maybe it's not meant to be. And I also have this contradictory thinking that like, okay, is it too hard for me to reach? Like, I need to prove to myself that I can actually reach it. Do you get this kind of contradiction? Like, is it really meant for me? Maybe I should just know how to let go of things that are not meant to be, against this idea of like, you know, like it gets under your skin a bit. Like, okay, is it that tough that I cannot reach it? I need to prove to myself that I can actually reach this.
Dude, yeah. But it's also like the saying, like, if you love a flower, don't pull it out from the ground, just let it be. So it's kind of the same thing. You have to work hard for the working hard, for the process, because of for the love of working hard, you know, not for the objective, which is so fucking weird because the whole idea is the objective.
Yeah.
But like we're talking about this type of specific mental like ideology, right? Because sometimes like you just have to work hard for working hard and let it be, and by itself will come to you.
And again, from a stoic approach, like what you can control is how hard you're gonna work on this specific, let's call it a project, for example. But you cannot secure the outcome because you just can't.
Exactly.
It's not under your control. Like you just do what you're responsible for, knowing that either ways, if I get to this goal or I don't get there, it is what it is. Like Amor Fati, it's gonna lead to something else afterwards. And many things that I really wanted in my life, and I ended up not getting them. Yeah. But afterwards, like, okay, I'm kind of like thinking where my life would be if I actually got them before, because I think that what I have now is way better than what I would have gotten there, and maybe like let me stuck in a certain position in which I'm not gonna grow afterwards. Like, dude, life just works in super weird mechanics.
Yeah, I think also that a lot of
Dynamics.
people today I think that a lot of people today tend to focus more on the goals. I've noticed that it's very I think in a way in our culture what's sold to you is kind of the goal or the end result, and not the most of the time not the process, because the process, and that's where the magic is, I think, when it comes to actually succeeding and enjoying your success and the process of, and actually getting there. Because as you said, you know, if you focus on the goal, then it seems, you know, you said that, you know, it's running farther away from you, but I think that could be like a mental illusion. Because you're focusing on what's there, what you need to get to, rather than looking at what's in front of you, which is the work and what you need to do. And if you don't enjoy that, it looks like it takes forever. It's the same thing as like if you sit in a car and you try, you know, someone's driving you, right, or you drive yourself. If you just think about, oh, when will I get there, like, then it's gonna seem much longer to you than if you sit, I don't know, and talk to someone or play a game on your phone or read or something, right? Like, that's kind of the mental illusion when it comes to that. It's just like, you know, I don't know if I don't want to give advices to people or something, but if you want to achieve something, if you're looking to, you know, I don't know, get rich or, you know, have a business or whatever, find something that you're good at, find something that you love doing, and then do that and actually try to enjoy that. And that's why it's so important to do something that you enjoy, you know, like, or find something in what you're doing that you can enjoy at least, you know, like then it'll seem more realistic for you to actually achieve it.
Yeah, because then you don't mind putting the hours to master that thing or like to be in the process, because it doesn't have to be your passion, but it needs to be like a sustainable interest, as Mark Schaefer puts it. You need to find something that it's gonna sustainably interest you, so you can put the hours without thinking like, I'm doing this again, you know, like.
Yeah.
And that's the life of many people while going to work, like, fuck, you know, like, again, I have to do the same thing, pretend that I like my boss and come back, you know. Well,
Yeah.
By the way, I do that. Just you know.
Yeah.
well, I hope she's not gonna watch the podcast.
Man.
No, but dude, it is true. Like, for example, for me, an important thing in my job is that I keep learning. It doesn't matter if it's difficult. It doesn't matter that, like, if I don't understand shit about it, I know that I eventually will. But like, for me, it's important to keep learning, to keep evolving, man. Also, like, a personal project that I want to do eventually, because I still need to put that into a paper. It will be in a way of helping people. You know, when you help others, you help yourself, kind of thing. And it's also a nice transition, I guess. I don't know, man. I do have to say something. I wish you the best of luck, amigo. And of course, we'll see each other. Like, there's no way we're not gonna see each other.
There is no escape from it.
There's no escape from it. And of course, we're gonna keep this project going. We'll find a way. Like, we'll find a way. Don't worry about that. And I think this podcast right now just gave me the motivation of just fucking smile the rest of the day, man.
Yeah,
and that's
enjoy
cool.
the sunshine.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I'm a little bit hangover, I'm not gonna lie. And I was not expecting to get drunk yesterday, it just happened. So, yeah. Like, life is good, man.
Good stuff.
Life is
Thanks for what you said.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, our listeners.
Well, we're not done yet. I have a question for you.
Okay.
Don't do that. But maybe fix that first. Well, since we're talking about like the podcast and how we're gonna keep working on that, I want to have also your perspective on, like, if we can just reflect on the previous ones, because literally this is the first one that it's fully unplanned. Like, it's unplanned in terms of, okay, what are we going to talk about specifically? What kind of research are we gonna do? And what is our structure? Like, again, I just took the decision recently, so nothing was actually planned. But we thought about having like a last podcast just to, again, enjoy this time, because I really enjoy having the podcast. So that's one of the plans that I had before going, and also reflect on the previous podcast. Like, what did we enjoy the most? What is maybe your highlight from the podcast? What is the podcast that you enjoyed the most? And how did you like the process? What did you dislike about the process?
Okay, sorry, I want to go first. Honestly, I think I loved all of them. But if I have to say, like, which ones like are still like in my head, I will say like I really enjoyed doing the research for the meditations and for the individual. That was cool. And the first one was very cool, the self-sabotage one. And it was the first one. I think I was sweating from parts of my body I don't want to say, because I was nervous. And and it was, but like afterwards it was like, dude, like, we can do this shit, you know? It was like a good affirmation of like, dude, yeah, let's go for it. Let's see what happens. Like, we'll figure it out, you know? So yeah. Difficulties. How can I think time, man. Time management has been my most difficult thing when it comes to this podcast, because the three of us work. We have other type of engagements. Like, I have two jobs, for example. I do training. I have very limited self-time, to be honest, which I like to use like to read, meditate, like do my own stuff. and like in that regards for me has been kind of difficult, like to balance more stuff together. But I think I've been doing a good job in that regards, and it has taught me that I can continue doing so. So I just need to do some tweaks and twerks here and there to make it better. And I have enjoyed doing this with you guys. Honestly, it's been cool. Your coffee's amazing.
Thank you. I'll share the recipe.
Yeah. And yeah, your mic, bro.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think I liked all of them. I mean, I think the one about the shadow was probably my favorite one. Meditation one was pretty cool too. I like that one a lot. But yeah, I think that hopefully moving on to the next episodes, I'm excited to move also to the remote version. I'm excited about seeing how that's gonna turn out and how we can make that also a cool product, like a cool podcast, because it's gonna change a bit from the way, I mean, from our perspective a lot, not from the listeners' perspective, but from the way we do this, the way we set things up, and our rituals of getting burgers after after every episode. So but I'm honestly excited to see how that's gonna turn out. And it was a great journey, and I hope it will continue the same way.
Nice. Good stuff. I think the first episode was quite tough for me because I was shaking the whole time. That's the first thing. And the other stuff is I was not fully concentrated in the conversation because I was like, okay, the camera is recording, maybe it's gonna get turned off now. Like I need to manage and monitor the audio and like just flowing. So I was distracted the whole time thinking, okay, am I saying something stupid? Can I say that? And just gonna, like, I was overthinking during the whole episode. But once we finished, if you remember, I jumped. I was super, super happy that we managed to do so and to work on the podcast. And again, it was one of this, this fearless, like, okay, checked. It's not that difficult. I'm not afraid of doing the podcast anymore. I'm not overthinking about like the process or like what people would say after they watch this, or if I sounded stupid or smart. I don't give a fuck as long as we're just doing the podcast and it's flowing. I think what I dislike about the podcast the most is the technical stuff before doing the podcast, and I'm always like thinking, shit, I was a bit assy on the guys. Like I was concerned about like making sure that everything looks nice, the lighting, this, that, and bothering Adriano with like, okay, come help me and stop. And just and he doesn't. He never comes. But yeah, that's what I would say. Like it's bothering me the most in terms of like technical stuff. And my favorite episode, I think, was also the shadow. Because for some reason, it's not about the topic itself, but I think I learned from the two previous ones, and for some reason the shadow was just like flowing. Like I was super comfortable having the conversation. I was not thinking that much. It was super good. Adriano was not here, so it was perfect. It was no, that's not true, but it was a good episode. The meditation one was also good because we were not planning on meditating before, and then we just talked about our personal experience and the perks of meditating. It was awesome. And dude, I'm also super excited about what's coming next in terms of the online version.
This is also a call to action moment for you guys to go check those episodes out if you haven't. Go listen. If you're interested in any of the topics we've mentioned.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you for your support. If you're listening or watching this, I hope you got some 1% of what we said was insightful. And we're still thinking about the alternative in terms of the online option. So we need to figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously you're gonna know about it in the next videos. So thank you so much for
Thank you guys.
watching and listening, and thank you guys.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Yeah, needs claps.
Oh my god, my knees are killing. I need to fart. And I'm hot.
Can you just check if it was recording?